Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 117 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Alex from Simplified Printing in Michigan. Let's go!
Hey there.
Hey there.
Can you hear me? Is it working? Is it working on my mic pretty good? I really like your hat.
Thank you.
It's very you.
Yeah, well, I have to remind myself and others, you know.
Mm-hmm.
How are you, Mr. Gilligan?
You know, I'm all right. That's about it. We'll leave it at that.
Wow. That implies that you have stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Just life. I'm okay.
So let's talk about that. Here we go. So we're going to spend the next hour and a half sharing with the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just kidding.
Cool, thanks.
I'm getting situated here still.
Yeah. Hey, can you hear that fan? Or is it good?
You mean like you've got a fan there in the audience? Like somebody's really supporting you?
Yeah, they're watching me, just whispering sweet nothings.
Who is it?
His name's Daniel.
What the fuck? Daniel. I'm trying to think of somebody named Daniel that I know. I do know a Daniel that used to work here. So has he moved up to New York?
Yep.
Other than that, I know. Oh, Daniel Day-Lewis.
It's Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah, he's about to play me in a movie, and he's just studying me in my every move.
Right. Well, I'll be nice. That because I remember when I said that I wanted to be Will Ferrell, and you weren't nice. If somebody was going to play me in a movie, I picked Will Ferrell, and you said then he would have
to be like depressed.
Yeah, and not funny.
A serious role.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. It'd be a stretch for him, but I bet you could do it.
Mm-hmm.
How was your week, man? Like, tell me about it.
Oh, it was pretty good. What happened? I had a lot of meetings this week. I've been diving deep into the promo products world.
Oh.
So dealing with that stuff. Some good clients. Some big corporations we're dealing with need a lot of promo products, so I'm trying to navigate that shit.
Well, I would say to that I would say exactly this. If you haven't listened to, this isn't directed towards you because I know that you have, but for those of you listening, if you haven't watched or listened to the latest Printavo podcast, you should definitely do it. It's about swag.com and how Custom Ink acquired them. Because swag.com is more than just t-shirts. They're also promo products. And I remember...
Yeah, they make a lot of those promo boxes.
Yeah, those boxes. It makes up something like a third of their sales or something crazy. But what I thought interesting, well, there's a lot of interesting stuff. It's a fire like episode. I'm going to listen to it more than once. I've only listened to it once so far. But what I thought was interesting is that with promo products, one of the reasons why I've hated promo products here is just it's like the Cheesecake Factory. There's a billion choices from a billion companies, where with swag, they basically said they do what we do with t-shirts, good, better, best. You know, like, look, these are my 3 or 4 or 5 favorite mugs, or these are my, water bottles, whatever it is. There's not a lot of choices. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
It's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think.
I agree with that. That's what I want to do. I just want to get some of the basics down and make sure they're really good suppliers, and then offer those. But I mean, with these big corporations, they're just kind of like, oh, I need custom Legos, or I need custom Adidas shoes, or it's just like all these like random things, and we're trying to navigate that. It's not like they're like, oh, I need pens and a water bottle and a bag. It's like, no, we want, like the latest thing we did for them was like balloons and just like laptop cases and all this other stuff. So it's fun. It's a new world. I'm excited.
Okay. I was going to say
I'm
something else.
Well, it's like a whole different part of this industry that I've never really dove into. So, I guess we'll see how it goes.
Well, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Keep me
I've got some
posted.
help for now. Mm-hmm.
A couple things that happened last week that I thought were really rad. Like you went on a cheeseburger road trip.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah. I forgot.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was awesome. On Thursday, me, Chris, and Brian and Bill decided to drive to Connecticut to eat cheeseburgers.
Because they don't have any cheeseburgers in New York, so you had to go all the way to Connecticut. That sucks. I feel for you. So you drove to Connecticut.
There's this show on First We Feast called the Burger Scholar, and they were talking about in Connecticut, like the origination of the hamburger, and there's a couple restaurants there that do like specialty, like regional hamburgers. And I watched that show and I sent it to Chris and I was like, dude, we got to do this sometime. And then we decided to go on Thursday. So we just drove. It's like a 5-hour drive, got to the first place, ate the burger, super awesome. And then we went a half hour to another place and then an hour to another place. And
you guys shared
home.
burgers?
No, we each ordered one. So we got our fill. But it was a fun time.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I had a table burger on Friday night. So there's this place that in St. Louis, it's called Olive and Oak, and they make this incredible.
It's called Olive Garden.
Yeah, I think you've used that joke before because I think I've talked about this restaurant before. But yeah, so there's this place called Olive Garden. Let's be real. And they make cheeseburgers there. Can you imagine getting a cheeseburger at Olive Garden?
Like going to Olive Garden for one and then sitting down and being like, I'll have the cheeseburger.
Yeah. See, that wouldn't work. Just like my example of taco at the Italian restaurant. You see where I was going with that? Illustrated the point perfectly.
Right, perfectly.
But they have what's called the table burger because they make a cheeseburger that's so good. But maybe you want to get some other entree. Well, you just order like this cheeseburger at an app, and they quarter it or whatever, and you can split it at the table. And so we did that. And do you know who was there with us that did the table burger? I think
John?
you do.
Or TC.
No. Yep, TC. TC, the man from TC Screen Printing, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Yeah, he was in town he does those events, for mountain biking where he sets up a tent and sells merch. And there was some sort of event near St. Louis. And so he was in town. And you also had a visitor last week.
Visier.
Yeah. You had a couple, didn't you?
Yeah, I had Can of Corn was here. And then my buddy Zach Shuda was here. And it's funny, they both decided to visit me at the exact same time.
They just showed up. Did they know each other?
Well, Can of Corn was supposed to be here. Well, they're both named Zach too, which was kind of funny. So Can of Corn Zach was supposed to be here at noon. We were going to go get lunch, but he got stuck in traffic. And then Zach Shuda was supposed to be here at like 2:30. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll have lunch with Zach and then show him the shop and hang out, shoot the shit. And then when he leaves, the other Zach will show up and we'll kind of do the same thing. And then they both showed up at literally the exact same time. So I gave Can of Corn a quick tour, and then I did the same with Zach, just like one
You
right after
mean
the
separately?
other. Yeah.
Oh, that was awkward. Should have just done it together.
I was like, you sit down.
You could have said, "Hey, Zach, this is Zach."
Yeah.
Well,
one was here slightly earlier than the other one, so I was in the middle of it with him, and it's all right. It's a good time.
Okay, I won't make you go through this, relive it again. It sounds kind of complicated. So you know what else I did? Something you're going to be proud of me. Very proud of me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I wrote my bio for Print Hustlers.
Holy shit.
And I had a photo shoot. Well,
I can't wait to see your fucking picture.
I bet you
have
can't.
it?
I bet you can't. All I did was pose exactly
I hope you have
like
no shirt on.
No, so you, I guess we should. I mean, yeah.
So we're going
Talk
to Print
about it.
Hustlers. We're speaking.
We're going. Yeah, we're talking there. Speaking
together
there. Yeah, together, not separately.
on each other's laps.
Yeah. So the shirt show, Brett called us and said, "Hey, do you want to do an hour at our Print Hustlers this year?" And we said, "Hell yeah, let's do it."
Oh yeah, brother.
And although he did ask us before we did the thing down at Made for their water-based camp, so he's probably regretting it at this point.
Right.
But it's about I think the theme of Print Hustlers this year is lean. And he wanted us to do a segment on like shop hacks and things like that. So yeah, that's it's going down.
So if you're listening to the show, make sure you come out to Fort Worth in the end of November and hang out with me and Andy, and we'll ride some bulls and
And shoot
have
some bowl.
some duels, shoot some bull, drink some bull milk.
Here's what you want to do. You want to go to www. Don't you love it when people say that?
WW.
Yeah. .printhustlers.com. Is that right? Maybe not.
I have no idea.
It could be Made Lab.
I
Better
think it
find
is
out.
Made Lab.
.io. It's not .com.
Hustlers. It's madelab.io.
So go to www.madelab.io and get yourself some tickets.
Yep.
Because, well, we're going to be there, and we're going to. It sounds like a
Justin
3-day.
Lawrence is the MC.
I mean, it's going to be hilarious.
It's gonna be great.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be
What
a fun
else?
time.
It'll be a fun time.
Yeah.
What else we got? I think that's it. We should probably. What time is it?
I got some
Yeah.
other news, but I don't think I can say it yet, so I'm gonna have to hold off.
Oh, the anticipation is killing us. Please, just say it. This doesn't even come out for a whole nother week.
I can't say it until
I'll
they
say it then. I'm going to say it.
You're
Yeah.
not.
So, folks, ladies and gentlemen,
Dylan finally opened an OnlyFans.
Dylan's balls dropped just last week, and
And I want to show him off.
you like this hat? It's brown. Can you tell?
I do like it. Yeah. Where'd you get it from?
Oh shit, Callie.
Okay. Someone we know make it?
Maybe, probably, yeah. So if you made this hat, let me know.
Okay.
I have to go like this with my ear because these are noise canceling. I hate
I
that.
see you have different headphones today. Big old puffy kind. You're like a real podcaster now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stepping up the game, leveling up over here.
I like it. Show me that chest hair, bud. What do you got going on? You pulling your shirt down? Nice. It's hot.
Mm-hmm.
So if
You
you
need
are
to get a
listening to the
chain.
show, you look like a gold chain kind of guy.
Yeah, like a rope, maybe.
You look
else?
more like a puka shell kind of guy, actually.
Take that back right now. You take that back.
Why? Because you got like 3 of them at home?
Yeah, I got him at Hollister.
Mm-hmm.
What was I going to say? Pearls, maybe, though. What do you think of that?
Yeah, you'd like a pearl necklace, wouldn't you?
Frank.
It was so slow. The anticipation.
Build up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that beat that like never drops and you're waiting. You know?
It's like like forever.
Just never, yeah. never happens. It's sort of like what that was. And you almost were saying Frank.
Frank.
there.
That's what you should do as you're like bringing it in. Frank.
Okay, let's try this. Hold on. One more time. You're gonna
And
do
then
it all.
I'm the beat. I'm
No,
when the
you-
beat
no.
drops.
You do it all. You do the friend.
Oh,
Because I
God.
can't
I don't know
move.
if
I
can do it
can't
for that
chew
long.
gum and walk. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Here we go.
Frank, 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 Frank.
That was epic. I love it.
Cool.
Uh-oh. Hope we don't have to do that every time.
Yeah, I fucking don't have the
Okay.
lung capacity.
That was a one-off right there.
I'm gonna take some Molly now. Get a pacifier.
Look, it all starts with a screen, and whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF,
Rank.com.
or
GreatFuckingScreens.com. The greatest. The GOAT of screens.
the greatest-ist.
Mm-hmm.
That
Greatest
sounds better, doesn't
greatest year.
Like if you said the greatest, it's not enough. In other words, like that doesn't, you don't really feel it. Like if you were to say the greatestest screens, then you know.
Right.
Look, cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way fucking funner.
Way fun.
Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will help you keep your screens and your shop clean. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
It's the easiest fucking way.
Mm-hmm. We got 2 F-bombs in there right away. They're not going to monetize us. We're not going to get any money. Usually we make a solid 18 cents.
Hey, YouTube, who gives a fuck?
Well, you just blew it. There it goes.
Cool.
Like we make 18 cents. In fact, we were talking to the accountant last week, and she called. She was like, "Hey, Andy, what's this 18 cents right here you have for a deposit?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, it's YouTube. That's what it is, bitch."
Yeah, bitch.
Right?
And then you apologize because that's not something we
I was
say
like,
to
"I'm
people.
sorry."
Right.
No, she likes being talked to like that. Makes her feel good.
Okay.
Action Engineering makes all kinds of accessories printers need. My voice kind of cracked right there a little bit.
Yeah, I see that.
They've got palette rubber, squeegee rubber, specialty
Rubber.
pallets. I was going to say rubber too. That would have been better, right? Like, what would you use that for? I don't know. But they've got all kinds of stuff. Go check them out at actionengineering.com and have a little peek-see. Have a little look-see.
Little peeksy.
See what they got.
Yep.
Could your shop use a little or perhaps a lot of help in the art department? Either way, go to 1-900-HOTStuff.com, get in touch with Nicholas or Lucas, and get your art dialed in.
Hell yeah, brother.
Next, we've got Chromaline, and they make all kinds of emulsion. And if you happen to be going to ISS Fort Worth, which is it's next month. It's
Couple weeks.
we're almost, yeah. Well, by the time this comes out, it's maybe 3 weeks or something like that. I think it's September 29, 30th, right in there.
So
What was I
28,
going to
29,
say
30th
about
or
it?
something like that.
What I was going to say is that our buddy Kevin, the emulsion guru himself, will be there. And he's got a class where he's discussing all different types of emulsions, their characteristics, and how to choose. What?
No joke. It's a great seminar. I've sat through it. It's really good.
It's really good. And if you cannot make it to Fort Worth, then you just conveniently go to chromaline.com, select the Emulsion Guru's YouTube videos, and kick back and learn.
Right. But it's better to see him in person. So
I think always. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
I'm going to go to the class like last time you did. I think you crashed it though.
I did. Yeah, I felt bad.
Chromaline. I think that's it.
Who are we talking to today, bud? You know this guy a little more than I do.
Today we are speaking with Alex Marx from Simplified Printing in Detroit. Yeah, I don't know him that much better. I know him like a teeny tiny bit better.
Teeny Denny? Yeah.
We met him at Print Hustlers Chicago. Was that last year? Seems like years ago.
Yes? Question mark?
2021. Yeah, because
Everything's
2020 there
Everything's
wasn't
a blur.
one. It has to be 2020 no print hustlers.
Yeah, it was
2021
2021 because I have the jersey right there that has 21 on it.
You mean it has a 1 on it, and I'm 2.
It has a 1 on the top, but the date's on the back.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but he is not an owner, right? He's a shop manager.
Right. He's a shop. Well, I guess that's what it's probably. We'll find out.
Production
But he
manager?
does a lot of stuff there. Yeah, he does. I think he does art. He does printing. He manages the whole shebang. Or maybe not.
Nice.
Maybe nothing at all. We'll find out, though.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't even work at a print shop. We're about to be
He has
bamboozled.
no... Yeah, we're catfished. He's like, I don't have no fucking clue. So anything about it. But
Cool.
that would be fun, too, because we can just talk and learn and share stories, right?
Shoot the shit.
We should stretch. We got 2 minutes. Let's do it.
While we stretch, if you're listening to this right now, if you could go give us a like or a follow or, share it on Instagram that you're listening to the show, that would be really cool. Tag us. Leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
There's nothing that warms my heart more than seeing a comment on YouTube or a message that says, "Hey, Andy," or "Hey, Dylan," or "Hey, guys, love the show. Can I give you $1 million?"
Or a hug.
Yeah.
Like a nice
You
warm
choose.
hug.
You choose. And of course, we always go
Warm
with hugs.
embrace. Right.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. Hey there.
Hi,
What's
how's it
happening?
going?
It's going.
It's my birthday today.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Happy birthday, dude.
Okay, on 3.
Thank
Ready?
you.
1, 2, 3. Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
There's
That's
a
as
delay
far
here.
as I get.
Thank you.
That's all.
That's good.
That's all you're getting from me.
Yeah, I was at my mom and dad's house earlier, and she brought out a cake, and they started to sing, but then I said that was enough, and
You're like,
Yeah.
enough.
yeah, exactly.
What kind of cake did you have?
It was a Oreo ice cream cake. I took some
Oh,
home
fuck yeah.
too, and yeah, I'm gonna bring some to the shop. I think tomorrow.
Dude, ice cream cake's where it's at.
Yeah.
Do you think
I
so,
don't really
really?
like-
Because
I don't really like regular cake.
Do you like frosting?
Not really a lot of frosting, no. I think that's why ice cream cake's good, because it's just ice cream. But it has to be ice cream cake with like the crumblies in the middle. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've had ice cream cake where they skip that part, and it's just like, fuck you, this isn't ice cream cake, this is just ice cream.
So I will give you my countdown for cakes, and not that it matters, but this is fact, not opinion. Number 3, and I won't even eat it, is cookie cake or whatever that is, like a
It's
giant
a cookie with frosting on it.
Yeah, no thanks. Nope, it's never good. Number 2 would be an ice cream cake because it's not a real cake; it's ice cream. And then number 1
Debatable.
is just a cake, and the ratio, kind of where you're going with that, is the ratio of frosting to cake has to be 90, like 5%
frosting.
cake. No, 95 cake, 5 frosting, or maybe even less frosting, just a little bit of frosting.
Are you that kid who gets like a middle piece with like barely any frosting, or you'd like get the one with like the giant like rose or something on top?
Why'd you say kid? Are you talking to me?
Or me?
I don't, either of you. I don't know.
No frosting.
No frosting. Okay, cool. See, I'm with Alex. I like the ice cream cake. So other than
ice
that,
cream.
what else are you doing for your birthday?
Nothing much. Went on a nature walk earlier. Did some bird watching, and then this weekend I played a lot of Pokemon. Actually, yeah,
Sounds
a
like
good amount
a
of
great
Pokemon.
week. Did you turn 12?
Maybe.
Was the ice cream cake Pokemon?
Yes, Pokemon themed.
God, that'd be amazing. I hope that's true.
but yeah, it was a good weekend. Didn't do much and didn't want to do much. But yeah, turned 26. Off of my parents' insurance now. So kind of
So you're screwed.
figuring out what's next.
What are you going to do for that? I mean, not to get into a boring topic, but are you...
So right now, what I think I'm getting lucky. My partner Claire works for a company, and the company provides insurance to people in the same household, even if they're not married.
Nice.
So I think that's what I'm going to do, and kind of getting lucky with that. But if not, I know there's like a portal or something. I haven't looked too far into it, but
cool.
Yeah. So I think got that locked down.
So tell us a little bit about the shop. It's kind of not very often that we get someone who's not an owner.
Yeah, no, that's what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah.
So I work for Simplified Printing. We're a company in Detroit, Michigan. And the company has been around since 2004. That's when they started. Right now it's 3 owners, but it started with Andrew and Justin. And they were doing a bunch of design work, just starting a small clothing brand. And then they teamed up with the 3rd owner, who's Vince. And Vince was doing a bunch of printing at the time, like armpit stain prints and just a bunch of kind of off kilter things.
What's an armpit stain print?
Yeah, what is that?
So I haven't seen it, but the way that it's been described is literally a print that looks like a stain around the armpit.
He's just making those himself. Just a real hot day.
Yeah, exactly. And selling them right off the body.
Well, that was something that I saw on your guys' Instagram. Was it seems like you guys do a lot of like streetwear stuff.
Yeah. So we definitely specialize. Kind of our niche, I would say, is streetwear. We don't have too many large competitors in the Detroit area with that market. Mm-hmm. We got some other big shops, like Edgeman, for example, which you guys talked to them. And they definitely have a really big focus in metal, and hardcore. Right. But streetwear is kind of the niche that the company has grown on and built around, including our own brand. And it seems like there's a space for it. And, we just opened up a retail shop again, which is behind me. And yeah, it's just coming from there. So
you said again, are you guys still doing, like when they first started, you said they started with like a clothing brand. Is that something they've always kept going and then just eventually did other people's work, or?
So in 2016, they got their first retail space. And this was kind of down the block, and it was just retail. So we were only selling our own brand stuff. And then a year later, we kind of started printing publicly, and realized, dang, like this is higher margins. This makes more sense. Eventually the old retail shop building got a new owner and raised the price. So they got out of there. And we moved into this new warehouse with primarily a focus on, customer screen printing.
Right.
And kind of took a hiatus from the brand side for the last 2 years. During COVID, business boomed, and production just took away. And now kind of we're getting our feels, the flow, the processes are coming more together, and we're at a point where, there's time to open up the retail side again. And Thrift World is kind of what we're calling the retail side. It's a lot of bootleg stuff. We have vintage people and other sellers selling their stuff along with Simplified brand. It's only open Saturdays, and that's kind of, slowly building up again.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So is the brand Simplified? Is that what they've always kind of gone with?
Yeah. It originally started as Simplify, and it was Justin, one of the owners, instant messenger name. And then once Vince joined the team, they all kind of came together and, rebranded to Simplified without any vowels.
I was going to say, yeah. So Simplify, was it spelled out with the vowels?
It was. And so now,
and is printing with vowels or without?
Printing is with vowels.
Uh-oh. Okay. So yeah, because it's sort of like when you go, I don't know if you've been to Hawaii ever, but it's all vowels basically. And this way it's the opposite. I like it.
Right.
And also it's simple. You simplified it.
Exactly.
But my recommendation though is you need to go with no vowels in printing. How
I
would
hear
that
that.
look?
Some consistency.
It's just the eyes.
PR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So change that tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
On it.
So how long have you been with them?
This is my third summer here. I graduated college in 2020. Right when COVID hit is right when I graduated. And pretty recently after I started working here, my senior year, I actually hit up Simplified on Instagram, and I knew I was moving to Detroit. And I asked, do you guys want someone to come in and reclaim screens, every Friday?
That was your pitch?
So, yeah. And they were like, hell yeah. Like,
Yeah, nobody
come on
asked
in.
that.
That's some great advice.
no.
If you ever want to get a job at a print shop, just say, hey, do you want me to come in and
Do you
reclaim
want me to
some
come in and
screens?
do the worst job in the shop?
Easy. Yeah. It was an easy in.
What drew you to them? You followed them on Instagram. Was it because of the streetwear stuff, or?
It was because of the streetwear stuff. I was coming to Detroit already. My partner Claire lived here, so I was kind of driving down every other weekend or so, and I was making it a point to stop at different print shops each time I came, just to see what was going on in the area. And
was that like something you were into, was printing?
Yeah, so should we kind of
go
talk
back
about the start of my printing journey?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll start with college. So I originally was studying ornithology. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
So ornithology is the study of birds.
The guy who built the house that I live in now, I think that's what he was because when you said it sounded familiar. But like when we bought the house, there was like 3 rooms in the house that the wallpaper was all birds. And like in the garage, he had like these little glass bottles like filled with like these weird little bugs and stuff. And then it was like everything that had to do with like all these books on birds and like all this crazy shit. Like I think he used to like be some kind of professor or something at Cornell. So yeah, continue. Anyway, why birds?
It started with, I was really into environmental studies. In high school, I was just super reggae, hippie, tree nature dude. That was my whole fascination. And one day I was driving home from school and I look out my window and I think I see a bald eagle. So I like swerve over on the side of the road and get out of my car and get my phone and record it. And I was shocked because I thought bald eagles were like extinct. I thought they were gone. I was like learning about what DET, I think it was, the like stuff that was killing them or their eggs. And I was like, this is some crazy rare sight. Like, what is going on? I later learned that they bounced back.
They all
which
died
is
off
awesome.
of George Washington.
They bounced back, and that kind of like captivated me. I found this database called eBird, and it's for citizen scientists to, bird watch and then enter in their data in different areas. And it kind of shows, based on what location you're in, where are hot spots, where are birds. And I started seeing like there's a bunch of owls and eagles kind of scattered around. And that kind of sparked that. And then from there, it just went up. I wanted to be in the field with birds and, find a specific bird and just watch it, just observe it and study its behavior. Wanted to do that for a while. And then I got into ornithology too. And we had to memorize bird calls. And that was game over. Along with some other things, but it was just like,
you're like, I couldn't possibly memorize any of these bird calls.
No, like the difference from a sparrow to a house finch, like, and more, they're like decibels different. So that was real tricky for me.
And you were like, I'm done with this. Let's just do screen printing instead.
Yeah, it was like birds, no. Squeegee and ink, yes.
Perfect.
Around that time, I also started gaining more interest in streetwear and clothing. started like drawing with Sharpies on, you know, my shoes, my shirts, my hoodies. But I really knew nothing about screen printing. Like in the back of my head, I knew it existed, but didn't know anything. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. Knew nothing about it. And then one day there's this wrap place in East Lansing called Conrad's Grill. I think they actually just opened one in Champaign, Illinois. And it's like really good drunk food. Like there's like on a Saturday night on campus, there's just lines of kids lined out the door all the way back. And I went in there, and the person who was working the register, his name was Kier, and he had this really dope fit on. It was like a Supreme jacket with spray paint on it, some cool sneakers. And we just hit it off and became really good friends. And he lived in a house in Lansing called Mori House. He had a lot of Japanese influence, and he just started screen printing for the first time. So I eventually go over there and I see his rig. He has like a 1-station, 1-color press, and we started using acrylic paint as ink on the screen. And, you know, it would print shirts, but the screen would just, you know, it was hard to get it out. Like it was gnarly. But that was kind of like the initial introduction to what is screen printing. And we were, you know, coating screens and emulsion with squeegees, just using the squeegee. We're using some ceiling light bulb, exposing screens for like 45 minutes. we didn't have a printer, so we had like transparency sheets, and with the Sharpie, we would draw the images that we wanted to burn on one side. We would let it dry, then we'd flip it over, trace it over to try to get it as opaque as possible, and then use that for our graphics. And our pressure washer, we had it in the bathroom originally, and like we would put the screens in the bathtub, and then we'd have the pressure washer, and you know, we'd hit the screens in the bathtub, and that destroyed the bathroom.
Oh yeah, obviously.
So we decided to take it outside, and it was winter when we took it outside. And I just remember like we had like screens lined up against the house. It was like snowing. Our hands were shivering. We were shivering, just trying to blow out these screens outdoor. The emulsion runoff just going into the street, just some real, not just gnarly.
The road, yeah.
I've definitely been there. And what you have to realize is when you're doing that, also the hose wants to freeze up, or the pressure washer wants to freeze up, or the water as you're spraying it on the screen wants to freeze up.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. It was a good time. Like I look back at it and it was amazing. Like it was so new. I was learning this new, you know, industry, this new skill set at the base level, very DIY. And we were printing shirts, and it was working, and people were buying them. And that was like the first time in my life where I felt confident about selling something. Like it was easy to sell them. People either need shirts, or, you know, I put all of this work into creating the shirt, and I'm gonna, you know, sell it to the, you know, thousands of kids on campus.
Where did you sell it? How did you sell it? Like, what was your distribution?
So this was before I had like a personal site, or we didn't have a website either. So it was all through Instagram. Everything was through Instagram. It was DM us, or I would, you know, wear one of these shirts to class, and kind of, you know, hype it up, see if I could gain interest. And then I would have I would like pull up in a parking lot and have all these shirts on my car hanging on them, like wrapping around. And then people would pull up and like come and shop.
That's funny.
And that was awesome. That was so much fun.
Footage of that, like on your Instagram?
I do.
Or that, because that would be good to see.
I have a bunch of it. I'll send it over for sure.
That's awesome. How did that do? Like, you guys did pretty well with that?
You know, subjectively, yeah. It wasn't like we were like making crazy money.
No, it was enough to keep you interested.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was enough to allow us to buy more screens or buy new ink, or buy new emulsion,
Right.
which the emulsion kind of segments into the next step of my journey. We were out of emulsion one night, and like we needed to print these shirts just because, we wanted to. And I decided to call every print shop in Lansing, trying to buy emulsion from them. And it's kind of funny now, because if someone called us asking for emulsion, like I would say sorry, but no. Finally, one person was like, "We won't sell you emulsion, but if you guys want to come in, we'll teach you how to coat screens." So this was like awesome. It was like, dang, I'm about to see a print shop, and I don't know, what is this world?
I feel
What
like
is
that's a weird answer to your request. Like, I won't give you an emulsion, but I'll teach you how to do this.
Yeah, it was a weird. We end up going there, and the owner of the shop ends up offering me what he called an apprenticeship, to work there.
That's how he lured you there. He wanted to give you a job.
I think so. I do. And it was a great experience, but it was a little odd, the whole experience. First off, the shop was located at the back of a retro video game store, and that was pretty cool. But the shop was just gnarly. It was just so dirty. The arms it was a brown manual, and the arms were being held by cords. There was like balls of platen tape on the ground, boxes everywhere, ink everywhere, layers of web spray. It's just,
wonderful.
A great first introduction for myself.
Right.
And started off reclaiming screens. It was freezing cold. It was just like a garage.
So you saw that shop and you saw the cords hanging and the lint balls, and you were like, yeah, sounds good. I'll be here tomorrow at 9.
Completely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're coming from, sort of how you were doing it all DIY, and have never really seen like a screen printing shop before, it was an opportunity, regardless of if it was, trashed or not, or like their shop was destroyed. I think of it like it would be a lesson on how not to have your shop. You know what I mean? So like I've had a lot of jobs where I worked there and I learned how not to run a business, you know what I mean? Or things I didn't like about it. In other words, you learn some good things and bad things, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so how was the experience? Was it overall, are you glad you did it?
Overall, yeah, I'm glad I did it 100%. It was kind of an intro into making it a career, when without it, maybe it would have continued to be a more of a side hustle DIY project. But there's a story during that time where there's a lot that was up with that shop, but one day he hit me up and he was like, "Yo, we're buying an auto press." So he said, "Are you guys familiar with Michigan at all?"
Not really.
There's the Upper Peninsula.
It's like vacation,
which is like
land.
Yeah, there's pretty much a bridge in between the lower and the upper Mackinac Bridge. And the shop that we were buying this auto from was in the Upper Peninsula. So we go up there, me and 2 other guys and the owner, and we pick up this auto. I knew nothing about autos at the time. I don't even know what type of auto it was, but we picked it up, and, we had a trailer behind his car, a real wood rickety trailer.
Perfect. And
put the auto in there, and then he just zoomed home, like across the Mackinac Bridge, which is like this massive bridge, just zoomed home, like, and it just like, I kept looking back and I was like, whoa, how much was this thing? Like, we get back to the shop and there's like 6 other people there, and he has no pallet jack or forklift. So all of us have to lift this thing. And I just remember like the pain I felt from lifting it. It was like incredibly heavy, like unreasonably heavy, as you guys know, and put it outside in the back. and put a tarp over it. And then I'm pretty sure that was the end of that auto. It didn't move for the month after I worked there.
He stole it from somewhere. That's why he rushed home with his wooden trailer. And 2, when he got back, he picked it up and put it. Why wouldn't he bring it inside and use it?
Space. I mean, there was space, but it would require cleaning.
Dude, it sounds like such a fucking. This guy's all over the place.
Yeah, and like I got paid cash, and in order to get paid, I would have to text him like 5-10 times. And then I would end up meeting him at a bar like late at night, waiting outside, waiting for the cash. And it was just
all of this is the sketchiest.
Oh yeah, it was not cool at all. It was not cool at all. I'm surprised that I didn't say, screw printing after that.
So how long were you there?
But I was there for like 5 or 6 months, I believe. And then my partner at the time was a tour manager for a folk punk band, and the band's called Rent Strike. And they were going on tour across the country, and I got asked to go to sell merch and then also do some photography. So I was like,
yes, please.
Sorry, dude, but I'm done with this job. Yeah. I'm going to try something new, even though it's just a 2-week period, but thought it's a good out.
Yeah.
And that was an awesome experience. But when I got back, I was like, I need a job again. I need to make money. And I figured I know how to screen print now. Like, I can pull a squeegee, I can reclaim a screen. I know, the baseline for it all. So I applied to my second shop, and this was an awesome experience where I think I went from like a C to an A in printing and understanding and
so this place had their
and
shit together a little bit more.
Much more. Yeah. It was a pretty small shop as well. They only had one manual. It was like, I don't know what type it was either, but it was a 4-station, 4-color, and they were on top of a Noodles and Company, like right in the center of downtown East Lansing. It was like a office loft.
It was.
What's
so great about that is like you got perspective. So for me, I think Dylan's story is different, but for me, I never worked at a shop, and so the only shop I know was my shop. Now it's different because I'm in a lot of shops, but when I first started, I had never been in a screen printing shop, and for years after I started, I never even set foot in one. But you got this perspective of, okay, well, there's a shitty shop and then here's a great shop. Otherwise, if you would have went straight to the great shop, maybe you think everyone's like that, And so I think that, I don't know, that's really valuable. I wish I had that.
Like, what drew you in then to printing if you didn't have any shop experience?
Sort of like your story that was, I just wanted to do it not for a business. You know what I mean? So initially I wasn't doing it as I didn't even know you could have a screen printing business, like when I started doing it.
You were also a tree hippie too.
Right. So I guess my thing is that I didn't so the very first time I realized I could print shirts for a place or a company, and I did it, I was amazed, and I was like, well, this is what I'm going to do for sure. And I went about trying to do everything I could to figure out like how to make that happen, which was really, I think, super tough back then because, there were no videos on how to do it, like, because there was no internet, no YouTube, barely just emails. And so, it was probably slower, I guess, is the only difference. I mean, it's still really hard, but the way I went about it was just painstakingly slow.
Alex, you are kind of like a newer generation of printer. How did you have that ability, like to go online and learn pretty much anything? Did you do a lot of that when you were an employee at these shops, like go online and watch videos to try to level up your game, or?
Yeah. Ever since I kind of started printing at Maury House right off the bat, up until, working at the second shop, I was constantly researching. and reading about what is off contact, what mesh to burn screens at, what temperature.
Where were some of the places that you were getting material?
Google searches and then forums, I think. There wasn't a specific resource that I was looking at that resonates with me now. But really just Google searches.
Mm-hmm. Like on specific topics.
Yeah. Like literally just searching like what is off contact screen printing or, difference between pushing and pulling a squeegee or thing, just anything that I was thinking about. But working in an actual shop now, like I was exposed to people who had been printing for years and years, and they knew what they were doing and they had experience in doing it. And that was like a game changer, just having these people right in front of me who saw that I was eager to learn and was able to answer these questions really was huge. So
we're up to the point where you started at Simplified. You called and basically said, hey, well, I guess step back real quick. What made you leave the last place? Because you said that place was nice. Was that just something where you kind of did your time and you're ready to leave?
Yeah, so it was an emotional time in the way of graduation, leaving college. Stuff is starting to matter. Like I couldn't sleep all day and skip classes anymore. And also COVID hit, and the last month of my senior year got moved online, and I was going to stay. I lived in a co-op with 29 other people. I wanted to stay, but I knew that house would, we wouldn't,
it'd be chaos.
Respect. Yeah. We wouldn't respect each other. And, so I was like, I got to move in with my parents. So,
so you weren't downtown and easily able to go to that job.
I was, but then I moved out of East Lansing, which is where Michigan State is, back into my parents, which is in the Detroit area.
Mm-hmm. So you call Simplified and say, I want to clean screens. And they're like, yep. So you get hired to clean screens?
Mm-hmm. And I did that this was still when I was going to school. I was still going to Michigan State, and I started going every Friday to reclaim screens for like 8 hours a day. And I only did that for 5 Fridays. And then I was like, this is draining.
Well, and you were, like, I guess at that point you were overqualified, for that role, because what was your main role at that second place that you liked, the good experience? What were you doing there? So
about like 40% was reclaim and 60% was printing.
On a
so it was a small enough shop where they needed you to do both? Yeah, there was an owner and then 3 other staff, like 2 printers and then myself, who did printing like after classes at night, and then I would also do reclaim at night. Nice. So what happened then? You worked 3 Fridays and you were like, I was
like, I'm sorry guys, like I can't do this. This is exhausting. I'm trying to enjoy the end of college. And
so what happened? They offered you a different position, or you fought for a new position, or what?
So it's kind of done. We stopped talking. I thought, dang, like I ruined this relationship. Like that sucks. Was definitely a little disappointed. I graduate, and then all that summer, which is the summer of 2020, I'm looking for a job. And when I was leaving RetroDuck, the previous shop, I thought this was going to be my last time screen printing. Like, I wanted to be a junior art director at the time. So I was like, dang, like this is my last day here. I'm moving in with my parents. Time to start applying for jobs at advertising agencies. But as you can imagine, people were getting laid off. It was like the height of COVID. So that didn't really lead to anything. About 2 months into summer, I get a call from Andrew, one of the owners, and I think he knew that I moved to Detroit and knew that I graduated. I was like, hey, like we have this massive job. can you come work full time? And I got hired that summer to reclaim screens again and to also be a shop assistant, which was very loose. There was the 3 owners and then 1 full-time printer and then myself. So including the owners, we had a team of 5 in 2020. We had a M&R Chameleon, and then we also had a Untitled Titan. And that was my first time seeing an auto and understanding the mechanisms and how amazing this is production sense compared to a manual.
Well, it's your first time seeing an auto run, not being lifted out of a wooden trailer.
Very true.
Right.
Very true. And that was wild to me. I was like, you don't have to pull ink through the screen for every single shirt.
Right.
Like, you just click on a foot pedal and
it's that easy.
That's just that. So that was kind of the basis of Simplified. We have like one of our biggest clients put a 50,000 shirt order in that summer. And that was like by far the biggest job that the shop has seen. It's massive. The whole entire center area was just lined with boxes and pallets, and kind of was, the reason they reached out to me and needed me at the time.
Right.
And I was like, this is awesome. Like, dang.
Well, it's kind of funny. Like
production.
all of the shops and even helping your buddy have all been like jack of all trades kind of positions. You know what I mean? It's not like you were hired anywhere so far to focus on one job. They were like, hey, we need you to come in and clean screens and, wipe ink and mix ink and burn screens and print shirts and run the print shop. Like, it's a good introduction, I guess, because you're getting your feet wet in all the positions, but it's also like, what were you most interested in? Like, what was your, like, if I could fucking do one thing and not 30, what would it be?
At that time, it was printing. Like, I wanted to print shirts, and I was so fascinated in, screens and a dope print. That was really what was driving me at that time. Yeah, exactly. And it's funny how, over the last 2 years, it's changed incredibly.
What's changed? So what you want to be doing, or your role? Like, you're in a role now that you enjoy and you want to be in, or how did that, what's happening?
He has to say yes. I mean,
no, not true. I mean, if they do listen, this is a good time to like let them know that. I mean, because I think that I've learned this, and we've mentioned this before, that as shop owners, we think we're more approachable than we really are, and I want somebody to come in here and tell me that maybe they're not growing anymore in the position they're at. And instead of just leaving or putting in their 2 weeks or quiet quitting, which is what we've been talking about a lot lately.
I wanted to ask you about that in a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. We'll hit on that later. But, I would much prefer somebody come to me and say, Andy, look, I mean, I don't know. I get it. You can't do anything right away, but if anything opens up, I'm interested in something else. I want to work here. I want to stay here, but it would be great if we can change it up. And I don't mean like 100% of the time, but just let me know the options. And so, like, really, if, say it, because I think they need to hear it.
Yeah.
That's what Megan did. And I had a lot of respect for her for that. Like, I don't even know how long she's worked here now. 4 or 5 years or more, maybe. She started off at the end of the dryer, like as QC, and like folding shirts out at the end of the dryer. And she did it for a long time. And then I started to give her a couple other things, and she started heat pressing and doing tags. And, she was doing fulfillment stuff for me for a while. And she came into my office one day because I think there were whispers of like wanting to hire more press assistants or whatever. And she came in, she's like, I just want to let you know, like, I'm very interested in like growing here and like doing other things. And I just really want to be on press. And I was kind of taken back, like, okay, like I never even thought you would want to be in that position. And And like literally the next, I don't know, wasn't even that long. I think it was like maybe 2 weeks later. I was like, hey, you're on press now. And like basically hired her sister to replace her at the end of the dryer. And now she's an awesome printer. Like she does a really, really good job. She runs the gauntlet. So I agree with Andy. Like if you're in a shop and you want to level up, like don't be afraid to tell your boss, because he might not
level down.
Yeah, or I mean, he or she might not know like that you want that position or that you feel like you're capable of doing something else. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I had somebody. I love it when somebody comes. I guess you would call it assertive. So I've had people leave here, or even just put in their 2 weeks, and once that word spreads. No, so somebody puts in their 2 weeks, and then somebody comes in here. They find out about that, and they find out that position is going to open. They come in here and they close the door, sit down, say, hey, I want that. They're leaving and I want that job. Before you hire, I think we lost.
Yeah. He was like, screw you guys.
Yeah. He doesn't want to say, he's like, oh shit. Like I'm on the spot here.
I'm
going
in
to get
trouble
fired
now.
for sure.
I don't like this topic. Okay. You don't have to tell us how you feel about your job.
We'll just edit this all out.
Was that my disconnect?
I don't know.
You just went away. I have no idea how you.
We didn't boot you out, but I don't know where I was other than I think it's important that I love it when somebody from the team comes in and says that they are not happy in their position, or they prefer a different position, or whatever. It's great. And so, yeah, if that's the case, then let it out.
Do it.
Yeah.
So you were helping out as like an assistant. How did you get from there to where you are now?
So after the 50,000 shirt job was done, normal jobs, the normal workflow started flowing back in, and I kind of started to get consumed by the darkroom, from reclaim to burning.
Let's say the truth here is after the 50,000 shirts, you're like, I'm done with printing.
Right.
It was my shoulders, my elbows. Now I'll just go make some screens for a while.
Yeah.
No, it was some sweating for sure. It was hitting like 105 degrees or something in here, and it was gnarly. But back in the darkroom.
Yeah.
And I think a few months went by and I was over it. I was like, I don't want to reclaim screens anymore. And I was communicative about it with the owners. And kind of the progression of myself was going to be, all right, so I feel that we need someone to work in the darkroom full time. So I created the darkroom tech position. I made a handbook, I made a manual that kind of breaks down our workflow and everything surrounding that. And then we hired somebody to work in the darkroom. So now I was no longer in the darkroom, but I was managing the person in the darkroom, which was an awesome experience to kind of create a position. And it was really one of the first people who I managed directly on more of a serious level. And now that I had free time, the next thing I was going to do for the company was art. Andrew, one of the owners, was previously doing digital proofs and separations all day, every day, compared to working on other things within the company. So now that I was out of the dark room, it was my turn for that. So I kind of
they were giving you free reign to like modify and level up things in the shop.
Yeah, pretty much through these 2 years, I have, been a large piece of the puzzle for creating our current system. It's been an open canvas, and I've had, a whole lot of freedom to
awesome. Take
it in the direction I want. And that's been, I think, one of my reasons why I enjoy working here so much. But it's, it was the wild, wild west. Could do whatever I want. We're getting more form now. But that's kind of where it was. So started doing art, Started doing digital proofs, emailing clients, separating art, printing transparencies. And with that kind of came a new overview of the whole flow. You know, I was seeing, okay, Justin makes a sale. And now as soon as possible, I need to get this client, I need to make the digital proof. I need to get the client to approve it. I need to separate the art, and then I need to print the transparencies. I kind of saw the urgency and the timely matter of that pre-press stage. And that was kind of a whole revolution, I guess. I also started using Printavo more at that time, and it was major to see how beneficial that was, and keeping track of all these jobs, and created new statuses, and really kind of allowed me to view the shop and a print shop in a much different light than just being, you know, printing the shirts in front of me or reclaiming the screens in front of me.
Right.
We go maybe 6 months later or so, and now I'm being consumed by art all day, because that was my job. And if certain jobs came through that were going to take a long time, we would try to use Fiverr, but Fiverr was never consistent. It was just, we were always trying to find different people. The turnaround time was long. So I did some research, and I found an article on Printavo about graphic source.
Mm-hmm.
And that looked so promising to me. I was like, dang, they're in Printavo. They're doing back, you know, end stuff, and also doing all these digital proofs, doing all these separations. So I had a call with Lucas, and I said, let's do it. And we did it, and we're still doing it.
So what are they handling for you then? Are they handling the proofs? Are they handling art? Like, are you kind of step back from that now?
Yeah. So kind of once I shifted away from doing the actual art and GraphX went into it, I was managing it. So when Justin brought a sale in, I would see what the client was looking for and kind of translate those production notes into notes for our artist.
Right.
And then once, you know, graphics uploaded a digital proof, I would review that digital proof and make sure that it's correct. I would send it out to the client and do the communication with the client. And then from there, they would do the separations once approved, and then come back in my hands for the transparency.
And that's the flow that you guys have now?
Yeah, it is the flow. It's not with me anymore. It's with someone else, but that was kind of the structure that was built.
So did you kind of make a like a system for them, for the next person, kind of like you did with the dark room? Like, hey, this is what I'm doing all day. Talk to the owners and say, hey, we should hire someone for this position. And then you moved on?
Pretty much. There's been some big change of events with our staff layout and kind of production flow. So kind of going into current day, we just let go of our 2 printers, which sounds crazy, and it's different for sure. They were.
So why did you do that? And are they for different reasons?
Different reasons, but similar. They were great printers. They both had around 10 plus years of experience. Really good printers. But we're moving in a direction where we need staff to be more on board together. We need ambition and work ethic over skills. We can teach skills, you know, but we can't teach other things. And from punctuality to attitude, you know, they're great. They're great printers, and 100% we miss them. And I miss them for the work of the shop.
Who's doing printing then if they're gone?
So at this point, we have trained someone who is an assist, who is now running a press. And now I am on until we bring up the second assist, who is going to be trained to run the press.
And you couldn't just get rid of one and then train someone with the other one until all that happened? You were just like,
They're a
fuck it,
package
let's do it
deal.
now?
It kind of just, it was a week we were doing reviews and a bunch of stuff came down together, and it was like this can't keep going on. Like,
Right. That's rough.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely disappointing that it had to happen that way, but you know, we move on and
Right.
take a new
That's
direction.
what you got to do.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. We've done nothing quite that drastic, but you know, sometimes when people have left, I've been like, oh shit. There's those oh shit moments when
I've had
somebody
that.
leaves or you have to term somebody or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that's you know what? It's going to be okay because we print t-shirts, and if we don't print any for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, or if I have to be on press or whatever it is, that'll be okay. You know, and so
Yeah.
it'll be
Well,
fine.
we had a head printer quit, and then I had to be out there for weeks, and we figured it out, and we're better off now than we ever were. So I feel like that's kind of where you're at, is you're going to train somebody good that has a good attitude and work ethic and stuff.
And don't get me wrong. I think that, and Dylan, you would probably agree, it's tough. You know, like I miss some of those people, and I don't want them to leave most of the time. And I appreciate what they've contributed, you know, to make this place a success. But, you know, you have to, sometimes it's better. Sometimes it's better for them and for us. You know, it's a win-win. And so it has to be.
Pull the Band-Aid.
So now you're looking for like positivity right here. You're looking for that
positive
person.
vibes.
Yeah, like so if they come in and they have positive vibes and they're happy and they're ambitious and they're fresh and they want to learn, sort of like you know, like when you first got to that shop, and then you, like you said, you train somebody else and you see how that goes.
So Alex, in your opinion, and you can filter this if you want to, but it sounds like the best thing an owner can do is give the person who's got the motivation and the creativity full reign to like explore and create things in your shop that you obviously didn't have dialed in or whatever. Do you feel like that's the best thing the owner could have done? Or do you feel like honestly there should be more structure and you should have more like of a watchful eye? Or how does that work? What do you think?
I think a mix of both. I believe that the company is where it's at, and I'm at today because of this kind of free reign ability. So, you know, I definitely think it's key for an owner of a company and a manager of people to encourage their staff to step up and try new things and pitch new ideas.
Right.
Regardless of what they are, providing that platform, I think is major, and overly providing that platform, you know, just making sure that you're there, you're showing up, you're talking to them, they see you, they hear you. But
So
at the same
like,
time,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
at the same time, like structure is key, like especially at a shop that's bigger with, I don't know, 10 plus staff or tighter deadlines, more important jobs. Like, you know, you need that form, you need that structure, you need people to follow in specific roles. So I do think there's a time and a place for sure for both.
I just feel like most owners aren't that way. Like, I mean, there's some for sure, but I feel like the owner is kind of like in it a lot and making the decisions and wants to be part of the process. And they're not as step back and like, okay, like you write a process, you figure this out. We'll hire someone on your recommendation and the whole nine. So I do like it. It sounds really awesome. Like it sounds like an Andy would agree with this. I feel like if you had a person in your shop that was determined, I'd be like, yeah, dude, fucking do it up, figure it out. Like if you want to write SOPs for this position and we could hire someone to do this and make us better, then awesome. It's like the graphic source thing. Like you did the research, found out that they would work really good for the art department. Now you guys have them in. You just really need to present it to them. Like, hey, I think this would do us a lot of good. And then obviously the owner has to pay for it, but it seems to be working out.
Yeah, it's definitely opened a lot of time and smoothed out art in general.
So like here's a good, I guess, example is that if the shop you're at right now, if you were just still on press and you never had that opportunity to go to the screening room or do art or any of this stuff, right? Would you have felt stuck and left?
Probably. Yeah.
Especially if you went to them and said, look, I feel stuck and I'm looking for other things to do here.
Yeah. And I wasn't heard for sure.
Yeah.
So how did that come about though? Like they called you and hired you back because they had this big job, but what led you to go from the press to the darkroom? Did you ask them? You were like, hey, I want to go do this position right now? Or did they tell you like, hey, we need you for the darkroom? Like, how did that?
Pretty much I observed and saw what was needed in the shop and then did it.
Right. But I'm saying like, if they're like expecting Alex to be out on press printing and they look out there like, what the fuck is Alex? And they're like, you're in the darkroom. You're just like, I'm just going to work in the darkroom now. I'd be like, dude, what the hell? Like, I need you on press. So like, were they just cool with it, or?
There'd definitely be communication with it, you know, like I would go up to Justin and be like, yo, like we have to do these jobs this week, but we have no screens. So like we're going to be unable to do these jobs. I'm
just trying to think for your perspective, because a lot of the people who listen to the show are owners. I mean, I know there's other people, but it's kind of like, we all need to be educated by someone like you of like, this is how we should treat our shop managers or our employees, and like give them the ability, like Andy said, like maybe we should have a shop meeting to say to our employees, like, hey, if you feel like you could do something better, tell me. Or Definitely. If you feel like you want to be in another position that you're not in now, like tell me. Because I feel like that isn't said enough. You know what I mean? You hire someone for a position and then you just sit back and forget about it. You're like, okay, cool. They're going to handle screens. And then you don't know, they don't want to do screens anymore until they come in with their 2 weeks notice and they already got a job somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it just needs to be out there and known of like, hey, like we really want you here. So, and it doesn't necessarily matter what position you're in. Just let me know if you want to be somewhere else here. Yeah. You feel like that's a good way to go about it?
I do. I think at the end of the day, it is an individual or a staff member's decision to make something happen. If they really want to do something, like it is, I think, on them or on me, you know, to talk to the owner about it and start that conversation. Right. But that's easier said than done. So I think having an owner be as inclusive and available to kind of, you know, initiate that is key. It'll keep staff engaged, especially on these smaller shops.
It's just employee burnout. It's like the Tony thing, you know, like cross-training people so that they can see like, oh, I've never even thought of burning screens, but I actually love burning screens over what I was doing before. So like, that's what he said. He's like cross-training them and they realize they're better in that position. Or,
I think it's, you know, I think it's our shop. I think it's the shop owner's responsibility or the ops manager or production manager's responsibility, really, because I think we need to be checking in more. I think that I do that a lot, not individually, but with managers. So for example, I'll talk to Kyle on a pretty regular basis and check in and say, so how is everything? You know, like tell me about, like if there's a new person and they've started at the dryer, or maybe they started at press, or maybe they moved from the dryer to press. I'm sure you do this too, Dylan. And I don't know, maybe you also do this, Alex, that you'll go and check in with that, maybe not that person, but somebody that's working with them and say, how did they do? You know, what do you think? Or what did they, because a lot of times they're more likely to share stuff with Kyle or with the person they're on press with than they are to share it with me. And so do you go check in with other people about other people? You know, is that something that you do often?
Like one thing is like staff comes to me, you know, if there's issues or anything, for the most part, they're coming to me first, because I'm the most available. You know, I'm on the floor with them nearly every day. And that's kind of just like what has happened. But
I guess that leads us into the next topic that we wanted to touch on, because it's been a big topic in our text group this week is quiet quitting. I don't know if you know what quiet quitting is, Alex, or not.
Just
Have you
dipping
heard of
out?
this? No, it's basically, and I might be wrong on this, but from what I've seen, is it's basically like the younger generation that we're getting as employees are seeing that they just want to come do their 9 to 5 or whatever and do the bare minimum and leave and go home. Like there's no,
I think it's the way I understand it is sort of like that, but it can be any. It doesn't necessarily isn't the generation or the youngest generation. It could be anyone. I think what it means is that maybe even when you first started at that job, that you were great. You know, you went beyond expectations even, and for whatever reason, maybe some of those things that you did, the extra responsibilities weren't acknowledged, and maybe you weren't even compensated for it, or maybe you never got a promotion, or all of those things, or
or you have burnout or something.
Yeah. And so like or if you have burnout, exactly. And so you all of a sudden don't like your job as much as you did, and you want to do something else, but you don't go in and put your 2 weeks in. Instead, you sort of just pull back, right? And you do the bare minimum. Yeah. And then, and while you're working on something else, let's say you have a side hustle, or you're interviewing, or you're training, or you're going to school, like you're taking classes online, or all this stuff, knowing in your head, like, look, I'm going to ride this out for another year or whatever, until I'm in a spot where I can then quit, and then I can do my next thing. And you know what I'm saying? And so I think that's quiet quitting. I think honestly, it's been going on forever. But maybe there's just a new term for it, and maybe it's going on a little more than it has. It's more prevalent than it ever has been.
Do you feel like that was some of what your printers were doing, where they were just kind of like bitter and just doing what basically the bare minimum, and you guys were like, fuck this, we need someone in here who wants to learn and grow with us?
Yeah, I'm thinking, 10 years of screen printing.
Right.
I haven't met a whole lot of press operators in my life, or worked with them, maybe 8 or 9 in total throughout my jobs. But I'm assuming after 10 years,
right,
you're cashed out for the most
That's
part.
funny.
So
now that you're talking about that, we kind of call it the printer's curse here, where basically like if they're just on press all day, every day, doing the same thing, that couple year mark is when they start to like get bitter, or they start to, think they're the old dog when it comes to new hires coming in, and like their way is the best way. And, they won't properly train someone else because they're like, fuck them, I know how to do it right. Like whatever. And, that's usually when we end up getting rid of somebody, is because they're just bitter, and, they're bringing everyone down, and everyone else has to walk on eggshells to like not piss them off and everything else. So, that's what I'm wondering, like with this episode, it kind of seems like, I love the idea. I love the fact that everywhere you worked, you did everything. And I feel like you wouldn't be in the position you're in now in your shop if you didn't have those opportunities. You know what I mean? Like you saw, like if you just did manual printing at both shops and then came to this one, you'd probably still be on press. You'd be like, yeah, I just know how to print and this is my thing. But doing all the other stuff, you come to this shop and you're like, you see opportunities in all the facets of the business. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, we should all, with the theme, I guess, of Tony's episode, maybe we should like give everyone opportunities in different parts of the shop, or rotate them, or do the cross training or whatever, to just get people. I mean, not everyone's gonna be passionate about screen printing or cleaning screens or printing on press, but like maybe they're just generally happier in a certain position that you didn't hire them for. You know what I mean? And then they won't have to quiet quit because they're going from doing sales or press or whatever to another part of the business that they feel fresh and open about, or just rotating people every so often.
Yeah, I think there's like a conversation that we've had multiple times, but it's like, what is it? Generalization versus specialization. And it's like just staff as a whole, like how much staff do we want to be generalized, who can, go do QC, then pull from the press, then reclaim some screens, versus specialized, where it's been someone who only prints and has only printed. Like,
right.
What makes the most sense? That's that's something that we always talk about and see reasons why for both. But, you know, at this point in time, our shop is currently, you know, definitely leaning in towards more generalized at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else you see that us owners should pay attention to that we're not?
Mostly
I want
Dylan.
to tell you, I want to tell you guys off so fucking bad right now.
No, it's hard to say. I feel like owner is not like a blanket statement. I feel like it's just so vastly different from shop to shop, from size to size.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, so I don't know, just communicating. Communication is key. Talking to your employees.
What do you feel? How do you feel about shop meetings? Do you feel like as a manager of that, it's key?
I think it's key in making the machine run more smooth. Definitely. Even if you're barely talking about the jobs of the day or something, just getting everyone together in the morning, even if it's just like, yo, like you see the production board, like, you know, you're on press 1, you're on press 2, going to be in the darkroom in the morning, just kind of having everybody together and kind of, I think it clearly allows the team to kind of see what everyone's doing and see how everyone's a bigger part of the picture. We currently have a team of like, what are we at now? 13, I believe.
Dang.
And we're in a real busy time right now. So getting everyone together at 9 a.m. when everyone starts, like right away, you know, you get here, you go to the production board and we meet, is like, I think key for the structure of the day, you know?
Andy, I mean, we haven't talked about it in a long time, but you were like, that was your fucking baby. That was like your talking point forever, is that you guys have production meetings. How are you a part of those anymore? Or I know when Ryan was there, it was kind of like you backed off and gave Kyle the helm of that. Is that still the case, or?
Yeah, it's still the case. So the production meeting only consists of the customer service team, design team, Kyle, and shipping and receiving. I don't run the meeting, Kyle does. We have like an iPad there, you know, with our Monday board open, and we kind of go through the jobs and discuss the ones that stand out, like ones that are waiting on shirts, or ones that, why, look, it's due tomorrow, why don't we have art approved, and what should we do about that kind of stuff. I don't run it. I don't say much. I'm there, I would say, half the time, because that was what Ryan and I determined, you know, was best for this shop, you know, is that I needed to step back from that. Instead of me running it, somebody else needs to run it, especially for the times where I'm gone, because as you know, like I'm going to be traveling a lot coming up. And, you know, I think that, you know, sometimes I'll say something if it's, you know, about the week, if there's something that's important, that's off topic from the production meeting, but we try and get through that in about 3 to 5 minutes. And so whereas it used to be more of a 15-minute, or, you know, and also we've gone back and forth between the entire shop at this meeting, you know, or just design or production, you know what I mean? So we decided that it would just be a certain few of the managers mainly. And
you're not having the press ops in there at all?
No, they're not in there, because
what's
honestly, the thinking is that, you know, if you're on press 3, why do you want to hear about press 1 or all the jobs? I mean, there's sometimes like on, I don't know,
what
Friday,
about just generalized, like these jobs have to go out today kind of thing?
What do they care? You know, so like I have got a press that tomorrow is going to run the same job all day. What do they want to hear about any other job? You know, they don't care. You know, well, and maybe they care, but we're going to be wasting money.
I get it.
Time,
I understand.
You know,
well, that's what I'm asking. Like, I don't do production meetings, so I'm asking you and I'm asking Andy and Alex, what do you feel is necessary in a good production meeting? What should you guys are, you know, putting all your knowledge on me right now. What would you think are like the key couple components to a good productive meeting?
You want to take it away, Alex?
Yeah, for sure. I think it depends on the size of team and what roles are there. But for our meetings, for example, going over what everyone's doing, especially at this point in time. We're doing this big job, so our darkroom tech isn't going to be in the darkroom. She's going to be out on the floor. So going over each area that people are working in and the
Like
jobs.
tasks, basically, for each person.
Yeah, tasks, or you're going to be on QC all day. You're going to be assist on press 2 and assist on press 1.
We were thinking that if the reason why we were talking about possibly doing production meetings is because we have this bottleneck that basically every so often we have jobs that are a must for that day, but nobody really knows it other than it says it on the schedule. You know what I mean? Like, no one's in a hurry to know that this job is a must today, but also like we're waiting on blanks for it to come in from UPS today as well, because it's a rush job. And I feel like the staff should know, like, hey, this job has to go today by UPS, but we're waiting on blanks, and this press is going to handle it, and this person's going to make sure the screens are ready, and so on. So I feel like that's something that we're lacking in now, is that we just don't, it doesn't say it anywhere other than on the schedule, like, this job is a must today. Or, like I said, if something's missing pieces, or, a customer specifically requested that this job look like this, and it's kind of a hard thing to describe in the notes. You know what I mean? Like, hey, watch out for this job today. This one's supposed to be like super ultra vintage or something, or use this style of ink instead of like what you would normally be used to. So are those like key components in your guys' meetings? Or I know, Andy, you like to do a little like, hey, just ask everyone how their day is kind of thing.
Well, I would say, so we had a production meeting once, and this is going back. When's this photo from? June 22nd, 2021. And so why I had this was because we had a production meeting, and I thought, wait, what did we just do here? Like, did we just waste everybody's time? Because I felt like it. It was just frustrating meeting. And I think there was some people just standing there not doing anything. Some people, in other words, like they weren't even listening, I don't think. I was like, are we wasting everybody's time? And so what are our goals? And so I wrote down the goals, because I grabbed the dry erase and we started writing down, like, what are the goals of this production meeting? And so I have these bullet points. I'll go through them really quick. Discover issues, team building, make sure we're all on the same page, prioritizing print. So like, so for example, if we have a job, we're waiting for shirts and we're going to check it in and then print it off the truck, special anything. Example, video. Oh, let's say somebody has requested a video of their job, or they're coming in to take some photos for content. Delegate tasks. So let's say a designer is just too busy and they don't have time to output or drop files to the screen room. They can get help, because a lot of times we found that people didn't ask for help and then just got backed up, and we wanted to offboard or offload something from a certain designer, because maybe one of those designers had time. And there's just a couple more. So what was for dinner? So that's basically like checking in, just some. You
just like to ask people what's for dinner.
Hey, how's it going? Because I love dinner. Real time list. Oh yeah. So we're going to update our Monday and make sure it's real time, so that's accurate. And so when we can jump in and we know what we're looking at. And I said that things that don't work, because I wanted people to write this down.
Are these bullet points that you have that you can share?
I guess. How would I share it? I just am. I am sharing it.
I know, but I mean, I want you to send it to me.
No. And so things that don't work, time waste, problems without solutions, too many places. What does that mean? Oh, too many places of our info. So like we used to have info live in QuickBooks and live in Monday and live on a clipboard, live in notes, live in our packets. I'm like, no. We have to have this all in one spot. And that was really, really hard, but we eventually got it all into Monday, and then make sure that thing is easier to view. And so, a production meeting I think is really important. So, but not everyone has to be there. That's what I discovered. Right. And also, as Ryan conveyed to us, it needs to be short. There needs to be a leader of the meeting. It needs to be concise and efficient, and we need to get through it and go on to other stuff, because meetings can be just like a time suck, as you know, and you could be stuck in them and then arguing about other things, or talking about the show last night, or the first day of school.
The other question on this is, are you doing it right as everyone gets there? Or are you giving them a breather? Are you doing it a little bit
question.
later?
That is a really fucking good question, because we used to do it.
I ask good questions.
You do always. We used to have it right at the beginning of the day. So like right at 8:00. And so what that meant is some people were just getting here a few minutes before, and they hadn't checked, for example, maybe their emails. And so maybe there was a job that was approved and they don't even know it. And so we wanted to give a little bit of time for them to get in here, get settled, get their emails figured out, and update that Monday board, so that when we were going through our production meeting, we didn't get the answer of like, okay, so that needs to print tomorrow. Is it approved? And the answer would be, I don't know. So we didn't want that answer. We wanted them to be in here, check their emails, and then have an actual answer. There still may be, no, it's not approved, but at least it's not, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Alex, do you have anything to add to the Andy's production meeting tips?
Yeah, I mean, due dates are huge. We have like a production board, a big whiteboard that lays out all the jobs for the press of each day. And I think the acronym that we use, or that I created, was like GAS. And it's like garments, art, screens. Yeah,
guys,
garments, art, screens.
I've got gas. That's how you start every meeting.
Got gas. We're good to go. So it's a little change now, but each person, is responsible for, each step of the way.
Right.
But just highlighting those due dates for sure. ETA is on when garments will arrive. They're supposed to be here today. So like, whatever that means for the day, be aware of that. Supplies are coming, certain things like that.
A lot of that is nowadays because of like shortages. I feel like that's the biggest issue, is like Chris, always tells me, like, we used to have a rack of invoices that need to be checked in, and it only had like 3 slots in it, because he would just put, like, one's from today, one's from yesterday, one's we're waiting on. And he asked me like a year ago, he's like, hey, we need one that has like 20 slots, because there's so many jobs now that are missing a piece here, a piece there, because it's coming from all over the place. So I feel like that's a big thing of probably meetings now, is like, hey, we're still waiting on pieces for this job. This job's 1,500 pieces. You guys can get started on it because we're only missing 20. Shit like that. You know what I mean? I feel like would be worth it, because that's the problem we have now, is they look at the schedule and it's purple because that means it's not checked in. But they're like, what the hell? I can't start that job today. But realistically, they could, because it's a ton of pieces, but we're only missing one shirt or something stupid. So no, those are all good notes, guys, on production meetings. It's something that we've talked about doing before. We've done it a couple times. My biggest thing is, like Andy said, is I feel like everyone would just be like, fuck this is boring. But if we were just like, hey, let's knock it out in 5 minutes and say, this is really what we need to talk about today. See ya. Get back to work.
I know. I would just recommend trying it for a week. And so I would, and I wouldn't have the whole shop present. So grab the key people that it matters, like the people ordering, the people checking in, that sort of stuff, and grab them up at the beginning of the day and go through the list of what you're printing and what you're printing tomorrow. And so that you can solve problems before they are a problem, preemptive strikes. So,
right.
Are you ready to go to listener questions?
Yes, that's what several. I'm looking at right now.
Alrighty.
All right.
Will there, after that, could I ask you guys a few questions?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's the next thing we do.
All right. So,
let's see. I got a bunch of them that just are like, hey, fuck yeah, I'm glad he's here. So I'll skip those ones, but just know there's a good amount of people that are happy you're going to be on the show.
Yeah, there's some simplified crew.
What is this one? T-shirt set. West Houston asks, what is one shop or business idea you have wanted to implement but just haven't gotten to?
One idea that excites me, which is like definitely a future thing, but we have a production whiteboard, and then we also use an Excel sheet. I call it the production queue, and it pretty much holds all the jobs, all the garments, the due dates, everything. Has it been sent to the CTS machine?
Are you putting that together, or is someone else in the shop putting that together?
So I created it, and then up until like 3 weeks ago, I've stopped using it.
I
so
love
now
your delegation.
On it.
You
Yeah.
fucking figure shit out and just delegate it. You're like, yeah, I'm done
No,
with this
it's-
project. You do it.
It's definitely worked. I've enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
But, you know, getting somebody or learning how to, instead of a whiteboard, having a monitor, a TV monitor that's probably touchscreen that's connected to the Excel sheet.
So it's not
a
two
lot
different
of
things.
Yeah, a lot of it. And also a lot of the times I'm just updating it and writing a thing and then erasing it and moving it up. It's just like a lot of unneeded writing when all of that information and data is right on the computer.
Right. It's kind of like what Andy was saying about Monday. Like they needed to get everything on one thing instead of multiple.
So finding a way to, put those together.
Yeah. This person has a bunch of questions, so I'm just going to ask him. Also, is every single shirt counted in when it comes into the shop, or maybe a big order you do? Do you all ever trust the packs of 12 in a box when they come in? The answer is count them.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah. I think we're all on the same page for that one.
Yeah, every order that
Counting
comes through
mistakes.
here is checked in, and you never assume that there's dozens
Never.
or
Or
that
you
a
have a
box is
box of a
right.
different color. Like
So,
you just
and
look
we do
them.
that. We do that for, definitely. We've had that box of different color, box of a different shirt style, even. But we've had, we even do it for our contract accounts. So there's check-in service.
Yeah, we do too.
You know, for somebody that's drop shipping shirts here. The only customer we don't do it for is we have one customer and they come in bins, not boxes, and we just open the bin, print. And so there's no, it's a very, specific customer though. And so, but every single other customer is absolutely 100% checked in. I think we all agree, right?
Yeah, we're doing a job for the Detroit Lions right now. And we did it last year, but it's like 8 designs, a bunch of garments, and there's a bunch of counts off. So we actually have check-ins for normal check-in, pre-heat press, post-heat press, pre-screen print, post-screen print. Like we have it really fleshed out and dialed in because of the variety of designs and garment styles. Like it's just trying to lock that down and get those counts right is key.
Yeah, for sure. This one's just kind of a weird one, but I kind of want to touch on it real quick. How are your pricing strategies changing with all the changes in digital and transfers? Andy, me and you have talked about this a couple of times, but I feel like my pricing isn't really changing. It's just more my offering is changing because we're offering digital transfers, but it's also opening up the minimums. Because before we had a minimum for screen printing and all this other stuff, and we had to turn down a bunch of work of people that wanted it's not necessarily the minimum amount of shirts. It's more the minimum amount of shirts for the amount of colors they want. Because we get a ton of people that are just like, I want 25 shirts, but it's 12 color print. And we're like, we're not fucking printing a 12 color print on 25 shirts. So pricing strategy for that is just more, we're opening more opportunities for more customers, and we're charging basically retail pricing for the people who want high color count, low quantity. And it's been really great. We've been doing it for a couple of weeks now, and we're getting customers who love what it is and love that it's offered. So I would recommend that to somebody, but the biggest thing is do your homework on that stuff and make sure you're getting like really good transfers. Do either of you want to touch on that one or no? Good. Okay. Next question is, what is the guest's favorite convention and or business event that you've been to? Have you been to any convention? Oh yeah, you went
the only industry related was Print Hustlers last year.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. I'm going again this year, which I'm excited about.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Fort Worth.
We'll see you there.
We'll see you there.
Yeah,
Yeah, me and Andy
awesome.
are speaking.
Cool.
Okay, next person. Let's see. Hanson Screen Printing says, hey, do you guys digitize or vector your logos yourself or outsource it? In all seriousness, from the way it looks, you do a lot of retail for your personal brand. When you were just getting started with that, how did you go about marketing your stuff? Did you open a storefront hoping that things would sell right out of the gate, or did you have an established business storefront you worked with to sell some of your first designs?
So with Simplified, the start of the brand, a lot of it was coming from events and kind of community surrounding parties. I think that was the basis of building up the brand. which then, broke into the retail store. And through design work and stuff like that, our community and market has kind of just continued to grow, where we have a pretty established place now in the, streetwear market of Detroit.
Nice.
I have a couple of questions, Dill.
Yeah.
One of them is from JoJo, my wife. And this is, I think, a hard-hitting question. So have you ever had a professional pedicure at a salon?
I have not, no.
You're like, yes, Benny, I am getting one right now. I
as
have
we
not.
speak.
I have never done anything like that. I've never had a massage. I don't really want anyone touching my feet. And I have no fingernails. I literally have anti-fingernails.
Do you chew your fingernails?
Dude, can you see this on camera? That's my fingernail. There's more skin over the fingernail than nail.
Let's see. She asks also, what is your favorite? Oh man, this is perfect. What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
What is it? Either Rocky Road or something with the peanut butter cups in it.
Rocky Road.
Can't go wrong with peanut butter cups. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, hold on.
So I have another one, and this is an anonymous.
All right, you ask that, and then I'll answer.
Okay. This is from somebody anonymous, and it's paraphrased, so it's switched up just a little bit. But as print shops, we're sometimes presented with an order that doesn't align with our values. And I guess an example of this would be, something that's political or maybe
religious.
Religious, right? Or maybe so something that we were printing both of on both sides recently was the abortion issue. And so I think that as shop owners, we sometimes have some tough decisions with regards to that because, we are a business, we're here for profit and I want to print, right? And so we want to print. And so what I think that where it gets complicated is maybe, one of those designs doesn't align with the way I feel or the way I think about an issue. Or maybe it does, and we accept them either way, and they go through the shop, and maybe somebody on press is printing it that it doesn't align with them, or maybe the person that took the order, it's offensive to them, or maybe somebody at the end of the dryer, it's offensive to them, or maybe not, so we have it. Why I think this is a great question is because Dylan and I are shop owners and you're not. And so, you probably have been in a situation where there's been an order that's come through the shop that you don't agree with and that you went ahead and printed, or maybe not, I don't know. But where I fall on this is that I had this thing, and I wrote it years and years ago, is that because somebody told me we needed to have like a mission statement or a statement, and it was it goes like this. So T-shirts speak, and they express a meaningful quote, show off your favorite design, or make somebody laugh. T-shirts tell of where we've been, state where we are, or announce where we're headed. They stand for what we believe in and protest what we disagree with. A T-shirt can unite a team, support a cause, or let everyone know you were at the best show ever. They separate us in a crowd, inspire thought, and ignite conversation. What will your shirt say? And so if I decide not to print one thing, am I shutting that down? Am I not allowing that T-shirt to speak or that person to have that shirt for their cause and create a debate? You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's really tough. There's definitely been some shirts that we said no to, or I should say some designs. Some customers come through and we said, we just can't do that. One of them was Disney characters having sex. And so
that's a great shirt.
Maybe we can add that, edit that part out. But like for real, like maybe we could have that. Maybe we could have printed that. But I was like, man, this is really going to offend some people through our shop. There's too much. But was that the wrong decision? Should I have printed that? Because then did I go against my own mission statement of just printing stuff on shirts? So I don't know. I thought that was I loved this question. And so how do you guys feel about it?
I feel like everyone's money's green.
I feel like like if we disagree with the message, they could find another shop to print at. I don't think we're limiting the person's ability to say their message. But there has been scenarios kind of in my experience where shirts have come through one of the shops that I've worked at, and I've been like, what is this? Like, and there's this one scenario where like I asked another press operator to print it, and I printed another job. I don't know. We're definitely turning jobs down here if they don't align with kind of the community values that we share.
It's a good way to go about it. It's just hard to offend me. I don't know. This is a hard question for me because like we've printed a lot of really offensive things. I feel like I would draw the line at something that's like hate speech, basically. Like if it's fucking Donald and Daisy Duck fucking, like Andy was saying, like Disney characters or something, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Like that's cool.
Yeah, whatever you're into. Too, I think.
But like if it's like, hateful against a certain group, or it's like super anti something that's just like hateful, I'd be like, yeah, let's not do that.
So time out. So you would print that, and maybe that wouldn't offend you. And I think this is an important point, is that it doesn't offend you, right? Donald
no, I get what you're saying. You don't. I don't want it to offend somebody in the shop.
There's 20 something people here, and
yeah,
so
we're all kind of on the same page.
I don't know. I mean, so because like you, I'd print that. Like it doesn't offend me. I'm not easily offended, but I know that would have been a problem. That would have been a problem here, and because somebody voiced it, and so I'm like, really, it's not worth it. Like if this really upsets you, then we'll move on. But then at the same time,
where
then
do you draw the line at that point?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Because I mean, there's a lot of weird ass shit we print. Like every design's different. It's not just fucking so and so school. It's like a band album cover is like fucking demons pulling babies out of hot lava or so. Fucking know. Like there's shit all day, every day that's just like weird, random, or like naked girls for their OnlyFans pages, or fucking I don't know anything. Like there's like where's the line? So that's why I pretty much only draw the line if it's like, holy shit, that's like, why would we print that shirt? Mm-hmm. Other than that, I would say, and I mean, this is hard to say, but like, we say a lot of awful shit here. Like, not awful, like, whatever. We're all crude to each other, and we all, give each other the bird for high fives. So, it's kind of hard to
situation though. I think your shop is
no. I understand that. I understand that. I'm just saying I don't know where the line is. Like, do you have an employee? Like, if you were all business and no play, and you were just like, all right, our line is here. Do you have a fucking list of like, no dildos, no, crosses on fire, no this or this and this? Like, what do you do? Do you have a decision maker for every print and says this is going to offend so-and-so and this is going to offend so-and-so, especially nowadays?
I don't know. I think that's a tough question. And I think that if somebody has a good answer, then comment or message us, because this is, I bet you a lot of shops are faced with this, this issue. So
yeah.
Next question.
Okay. Hold on. I got to do the ice cream thing because we fucking say this all the time in the shop now. I don't know if anybody's seen this lady's page on Instagram, but we keep saying it all the time. Hold on. Oh, the nothing like it lady?
Nothing like a chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream cone. Nothing like it.
That's it. I have that saved. No, I have that saved because I like cookie dough, and I saw this lady's page where she always just says nothing like a something, and then just goes nothing like it. And it's just fucking, I love it so much.
Have you guys seen that corn one that's going around? The corn
yes,
song?
With all the people doing the intro.
Maybe it's like the boy who was eating corn, and he's like, "I love corn so much," and then someone turned it into a song.
No, they were talking about it in the shop the other day, and I wasn't quite sure what they were talking about. I haven't seen it, but they did apparently. But there's another one going around that Bill sent me that was just fucking like this cringe video of people singing like actual like the band Korn, and I was just like, oh God, that's awful.
Are you guys excited for the week?
Can I say no?
Yeah, say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. And the only reason why I'm not excited for the week is here. I'll tell you. So, I purchased an EV a few months ago.
A what?
And an electric vehicle.
Oh, okay.
And
sorry, I'm not on your lingo.
I have never had. I've always had just gas-powered vehicles, right? And they're redoing our streets in our neighborhood, and now I get a note on my door on Friday that says they're tearing up the street in front of my house and we're not going to be able to use our driveway for over 2 weeks. And I charge my car in my house. And so I'm like, okay, great. So I've been driving my whole life a gas car. And then the month I get, or a couple months later that I get an electric car, I don't have a driveway. And I know these are like
First
small
world
problems, but it's like my week is going to suck because I'm going to have to figure out like alternative or different rides. And
just drive the Audi.
I have, well, that's when I leave Joanne at home, like, because she she works here half day sometimes and she has errands to do. And so if I take the car, then what's she's going to do? So I can Uber here.
Are there charging stations?
There are, but that's a little, it's not a huge
It's a slight
hassle,
inconvenience that I don't want to do.
Yeah. So, it's weird. Like if I had a gas car, I wouldn't care. Like just park it out on the street. And then in the mornings I leave and then I don't need to go to the garage. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah,
we should just all drive
timing-wise,
gas cars.
Yeah, we should. I'm selling it. I'm going to sell it tomorrow. I'm going to trade it in.
Sounds good. Get a fucking Hummer or something.
Escalade.
This is a good question. Revival Print Co. says, are there points where you were most profitable, either employee count or gross revenue? I feel like we're constantly working to pay a new employee rather than increasing profit.
One area that kind of answers that is splitting ways with both of our press operators recently. They were, the two highest on payroll.
Mm-hmm.
So, with this new model where we're not necessarily looking for an experienced press operator, allows us to, open up cap space for other staff members or, change that in another stream.
Right.
So we're kind of exploring and seeing
the best way to go about that.
Yeah.
Andy, how do you feel?
I think maybe I'm trying to think if it was a phenomena that was early on, like that when we hired somebody, we became less profitable for just a short time until you know what I mean? I mean, maybe that's because that doesn't occur anymore. So we're at a spot where, we need help. We could add to our team, but, if we did, it wouldn't hurt. Yeah, it would, we would have that additional labor cost, but we would make up for it with additional revenue, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I think that right now I'm sort of at a hiring freeze. I don't know. We were trying to, Dylan and I, we were talking about this a little bit that we are not in overtime right now. So it's
right.
a very manageable busy in that we're probably slightly under. I think we're going to finish August. We finish August. When is it? When's September? Wednesday? Something like that. So there's a few more. Oh, it's Thursday. So we have 3 more days of August and we're probably going to finish a little under last year. And that's kind of weird because we're up every month so far on the year. And I'm a little bit concerned, although not a lot of it yet, because I think that if we get into mid-September and it hasn't picked up, because our biggest months are September, October, if we're not buried in the next few weeks, then the recession is real. I think so. We'll see though. It's too early. I think time will tell. So,
Yeah.
so
What's
I'm
that-
not hiring anybody, I guess is
What's
my,
that general rule that you should have an employee for every $100,000 in revenue?
I think that's the bottom. I disagree with that, but yeah, I mean, I think that you're saying for every 100,000 there's an employee. I think that's low. I think
Right.
I think you should be operating higher than that.
Yeah.
My opinion. Of course, everything.
Yeah, me and you had this discussion on the phone the other day too, but I've never thought about it. I don't care. I really don't. Like if I see a position in the shop that needs another person because we're bogged down in it and it's a constant bottleneck, not just like a bubble. Like if we're busy, we get that all the time in the office or whatever, and we get busy in the summer. They're like, "Oh my God, we need to hire another person." And I'm like, "I promise you it's going to slow down in like a week. You're just going through like a rough week or two. Like we don't need another person." They're like, "Oh my God, we got to hire someone else. I can't handle this workload." And then in 2 weeks, they're like, "Hey, do you have anything else I can do?" It's like, well, I'm glad I didn't hire another person because now you're looking for shit to do. So if we usually go through like a good solid chunk of time where we are like, we really need someone for this position, that's when I'll hire somebody. I don't ever look at the numbers. I'm just like, we either need him or we don't. Like,
I think, hiring somebody or potentially automating in the spot too. I mean, it's not always
right. I'll try to automate first.
And I think that everyone, look, when I was in Santa Monica a few weeks ago, we were sitting in traffic and I saw this robot like drive by delivering something.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's coming. Robots, it's around the corner.
Here. Yeah.
The
All right.
offloading robots.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I have 2 questions. This is from ecggp.4u. Question 1. Looks like he has an Anatol and an M&R. Why the combo?
So the Anatol was our first auto press that we had, and we got it from one of our print shop friends for a pretty good price. So it was kind of our introduction into the auto world. But now we have 2 Diamondbacks. And then
you chose those because
upstairs.
You wanted them?
Yeah, so we didn't have the best experience with the Anatol, and we had really good like service experience with both of our M&R manuals,
Mm-hmm.
And all of our staff who had experience printing had experience with M&R, and I don't know, I don't have a whole lot of experience with other brands, but it seems like a hardy press. And it's easy to get someone out here to help us and answer questions.
Right. So the service is
service is huge.
Yeah. All right. Last question. How do you guys balance the brand and your production schedule?
So there's certain times where printing for the brand really picks up. And when we do that, we just throw it in the production schedule and just schedule it like any other job. If it's more smaller specialty things, then we'll take it upstairs on the manuals. But just scheduling it like other jobs.
Any other job. Yeah. I agree with that. Okay, cool. Do you have questions for us?
Yeah. How did you 2 meet?
I don't really know other than Instagram, right?
It was that truck stop, wasn't it? I thought.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I was a trucker for a while and I was looking for a good time.
It was Instagram.
Yeah, just Instagram friends.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then we started talking to each other on the phone. And then like any good boyfriend situation, we met up in real life. What was the first time we saw each other in real life?
I think it was Long Beach. Yeah. 2020, maybe.
No,
Don't know.
it had to have been
19?
earlier than that.
Oh yeah, it was earlier.
And then, yeah, again, it's one of those things, like there's a lot of printers where we all kind of just talk to each other a lot, or we have text groups, or, we visit each other or whatever. There's a lot of support out there. There's a lot of people willing to chat and shoot the shit. So
yeah, you were one of my first.
I was your first.
You were my first, let's say it like that. You were my first shop that we went back and forth when we were stuck on something, or just wanted to vent or an opinion, like whatever reason,
Right.
you were pretty okay. And so
I was an okay guy.
talked.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
We talked here and there.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's how it started.
Next.
And then do you both have a production manager role or a shop manager role? And if so, what are the responsibilities of that individual?
Andy?
Yes. And I think he probably takes on too much, but his responsibility is, his name is Kyle Caldwell.
The taper.
He is the second fastest taper he's the fastest taper in the United States and the second fastest in North America. And I've actually approached him and said, look, we're going to go to 2536s on our screens and get rid of tape. And he refuses. He's like, no. No, we're going to have the tape. But his role, let's see. So he runs the screen room. So which means our screen room has, he coats screens. He images screens, he exposes screens, and he develops screens. He also is the production manager, so he runs the lineup. And so he'll make a map. We have a map of every press and who's at each press during the day. And he makes that map. And if somebody's missing, let's say, then he'll, support that role. Sometimes he'll step in and get on press. He does it all. I mean, he does a lot. And that's why I say sometimes he does too much, but he likes doing that. He likes being busy. If he weren't busy, he would go crazy. The reason why he can do all of that, I feel, is that our screen room is fully automated. And so we have an autocoder. We have a DTS. We have, CTS. We have our exposure unit. And we have an auto developer. He doesn't do the ink or reclaim or anything like that. We've got somebody, on that, but occasionally he does if that person is gone. And so he's like very good at balancing and prioritizing his stuff. He's been here for, I want to say 7 years though. So, it's not like,
It's been a while.
It's been a while. So he knows how to do all of these roles really well.
Yeah. I don't necessarily have someone that has that role specifically. I do have Chris and Brian, who are my best friends that have been here since the very beginning. And pretty much if I'm not here, they're here. Or even when I'm here, they're here. As far as like someone has a question or concern or whatever, they go to one of us 3 guys basically. And we all kind of just take care of things. I feel like with our shop and what we're printing and what we're doing, we're just very, very organized in general. So everyone kind of knows their roles going in. The schedule is what it is. It's separated by press, and they know, in the notes and in all the things for that job or everything they need to know for the most part. We have really detailed mock-up forms, so it's not like they have to ask someone every question about every job. So realistically, if they have an issue with a job or a question, they come to one of us 3 and we take care of it. So I don't really have someone out there just overseeing everything all day, because I feel like they'd be bored as fuck, because I've got someone for every role. Basically, I've got a screen guy who cleans, coats, burns, tapes, everything. And then I've got people on press. I got someone that's under the dryer. I got, someone who counts in and ships and everything. It's just, everyone has a role, and I don't need someone walking around just pointing fingers all day. So that's what I got.
Definitely. One shop that I've admired over maybe the year or something is a Floodway Print Co. If you're familiar. I just wanted to point on that. I think it's just how focused they are on, that automation, data driven. I think that's rad. Yeah, that's all the questions
Corey.
I got, really.
If you're listening.
Oh, yeah.
It's Corey.
Yeah,
We know he is.
Corey, I reached out to him because I followed his, he had like a QR codes on all the screens. And like I hit him up and I created that system here. And we used it for a while, just to keep track of how many times screens have been reclaimed. And I put a lot of work into it, and it really kind of saturated me in the screen room, but we no longer are scanning those screens.
And Corey, he commits and to his shop and making it better, you know, like with the lean program. And he also shares so much of that stuff with the industry. So that's really rad.
Yeah. And then one thing to kind of share is something that I've been learning and continue to learn is like, don't be too confident, and don't block out other people's ideas.
The potential to learn.
Yeah, regardless if you're a veteran printer or, you know, you're an owner, like you don't have to necessarily listen to them, but do what they're saying, but, you know, listen, don't. Right. There are other options and ways to do things and explore changes within your shop.
Be confident, but not cocky.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's our motto for the show is we don't know, we're confident and we feel like we have good shops, but we don't know everything. And we're happy to talk to you or anybody and learn something from you guys. So, that's definitely our motto, I feel like. Yeah,
and this industry is developing. I mean, there's always something new.
Always. It never ends. It's constant. Alex, do you have any shop hacks? Or was that your shop hacks?
I feel like that was more of a personal thing. I had some.
That's what they all say.
Yeah. Nah. We started air compressing screens after we burn them, just to clear them out. Because one thing is like our dark room is like not controlled at all, and over the 3 years it's just been up and down. The humidity is crazy. We're making improvements, but
so what are you doing with the air compressor? Are you blowing out the water after you reclaim
water?
it?
Yeah. Just to, like, I don't know if we're right on this, but a lot of the times there's like water stains in the mesh, what we thought was water stains.
One thing I would say on that I've heard from somebody is that your air compressor, like the tank generally has like a coating of oil in it. And if you're using the air compressor to blow out a screen that's a clean screen, you could potentially be blowing those oils onto the screen. So people have recommended doing more the shop vac wand. So like sucking the air off instead of, this sounds terrible, sucking it off instead of blowing it on.
I've never heard that about the air compressor.
Really? I think it was Kevin who told me that.
Really? I like
We've experienced it too. Yeah.
You've had the oil
after we're trying to, you know, dry off a screen after reclaim or something real fast. Like, we've had a bunch of like fish eyes or something, or
it could be oil from the air compressor.
Yeah.
So that's what I would recommend. I mean, you do whatever you want to do. I just have heard that it's not the most ideal scenario to blow them out with air just because of that. But both me and Andy kind of do it a little bit differently. We just stack the screens vertically instead of laying them flat, so that we don't, because my problem here is I have town water and there's a lot of minerals. So if we clean a screen and put it in a rack, every screen will drip between the next one, and then we'll end up with all those fish eyes because the water will dry in the screen from a drop, and then we'll have issues. So if you stack it this way, then the water is dripping off the screens and not landing on other mesh or anything, and you'll have a lot better screens. The step above that is like me with the blue water, is that when the screens come out of the reclaim at the end, they're getting air knives. So they come out dry rather than having water in the mesh. So I don't have to worry about that other than just like a filter on the air knives. But yeah, that's
another thing is getting a CTS machine was next level. I was just, we've had it for like 3 months or something.
Well, one did you get?
Like Doubtfit.
Yeah.
We learned that they're literally 5 minutes away from our building. They're headquartered 5 minutes away from our building.
That's awesome.
Which is wild. And yeah, that thing's awesome. And like, if we have any issues ever, he's, Doug or John are here within 5 minutes. Like, they literally just roll up. They're like, what time will you be in? And they're there.
Right next door.
Yeah. So
That's
that
awesome.
was pretty major.
Nice.
But yeah. Yeah.
Andy, you ready for quick takes?
I sure am. Alex, what's your pre-workday ritual?
Recently I've been waking up and watching Umbrella Academy, an episode of Umbrella Academy, washing my face, eating like a breakfast burrito or breakfast sandwich or cereal sometimes, and then brushing my teeth and rolling up to work.
All the hygiene.
Yeah, at like what time I've been getting here like 7:30 or so.
Nice. So you get up early then.
Yeah. Over the last year, I've been progressively kind of waking up earlier.
Nice. Let's see. What's the first shirt you've ever printed? Can you remember that?
It was this this little egg character that when I was living in the co-op on campus, we decided to paint it on the wall one night, and like everyone got pissed and they wanted to paint over it, but I was like, I love this thing. So I drew it on that transparency paper and we printed on a shirt.
Printed shirts instead for all the people that were haters.
Yeah. Gifted it to them.
Nice.
What trait from your parents would you say has made the greatest impact on your career?
Communication, I think. And also freedom. They gave me like a whole lot of freedom growing up and allowed me to make some big mistakes, which like taught me like crazy. I'm very thankful for.
I feel like the owners
that.
are doing that with you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, same thing. But yeah, that trust that I really appreciate it and try not to, take advantage of it, but not, take advantage of it.
Right.
I think that's really good. I think that you've, you gained confidence that, look, it's okay to fail. Like you didn't die or anything. Like you failed, then you figured it out. And so it's actually really a good fit where you're at right now because they sort of do the same thing.
Yeah.
If you don't fail, you're not doing nothing.
How do you unwind after work?
Recently I have been playing some Pokemon. I don't play too many video games, really none, but every once in a while I'll get into a game. But making dinner with my partner, Claire, going on a walk through the city sometimes other than Midtown Detroit. So there's a lot of walkable areas.
Just walk downtown, or are there like good trails?
Not a lot of nature trails in the city, but either downtown or north on Woodward, just city center area.
Right.
There's some good bird watching downtown Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the rare species.
Majestic eagles. Pigeons.
Right in the center.
Right. Okay, Andy.
All right. What's for din?
What's for dinner? I don't know. I had bagels and lox for my birthday dinner. And
I forgot it was your birthday again.
Yeah. I wanted to do this with y'all today.
Oh yeah,
to make
dude.
it,
Thank you.
more meaningful. But I honestly might just eat some more leftover bagel and lox.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
No special birthday dinner? Or that was earlier?
Nah, I had lunch. We were going to do dinner, but then we decided to do lunch because I wanted to be on the podcast. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well,
Thanks for
thanks
I
for
want to
sharing
know
your
how he
birthday
does
with
his
us.
bagel. Yeah.
How I do
Sorry,
my
go ahead.
bagel?
Yeah. What kind of bagel? So was it a plain bagel, poppy seed?
The one earlier was like an Asiago bagel. But I think the one my mom packed for me is just like a standard plain bagel, but that'd be solid. It got some whipped cream cheese.
Now, are
With,
you like
where
a
it's
New
at.
York bagel kind of guy where the cream cheese is as thick as the bagel? Or are you doing like a thin spread?
I'll do a thinner spread. Nothing.
Okay.
I could go for a thick cream cheese bagel, but I'm happy with either.
Right. Get your
Probably nothing
worth of
too
dairy.
thick. I'll probably put a piece of cheese on it too, so
Nice.
I won't overdo the cream cheese tonight.
Mm-hmm. Well, Alex, thanks for coming on, man, especially on your birthday. That's awesome. Thanks for
I appreciate
spending it with us.
Appreciate you guys having me and letting me share and talk.
Hell yeah, no, it was fun. I liked the way this episode worked out. The insights of the production manager is kind of nice.
Yeah, I feel like depending on how it goes and stuff, having maybe potentially a route of the podcast is maybe not just doing owners,
Right.
Maybe
we've talked about that.
Because I feel like I listen, and right now I don't know if I want to be an owner one day, probably in some capacity of something, but hearing other people in my role and what they're doing and what they want to do would be awesome.
Well, the nice thing is that you were pretty open about anything. There wasn't anything you were really hesitant about, but the problem is with a lot of employees is they don't want to say the wrong thing or talk shit about their shop, or I think with an owner, they'll be like, oh, this fucking position sucks, or like, I'm having trouble here or whatever, because it's their thing. But if you're a press operator, you don't want to be like, yeah, well, I hate this about my job. It's like,
right.
A public platform to put that on. But yeah, that's definitely a lot of stuff like that is stuff that we want to do. And we're going to put out a thing pretty soon that's like you can pretty much fill out and say you want to be on the show and tell us your story and why you want to be on. So maybe we'll get some people from there.
That'd be sweet.
So we will see you in November at Print Hustlers. And
for sure.
Chad, pretty please, since he loves Happy Birthday so much, will you please finish this show like with
the Happy Birthday song?
With the Happy Birthday song, yeah. Do it for us. Do it for Alex.
See you, Alex. Have a good night, man. Later, dude. Dude, he bailed hard.
Happy birthday, Alex. It's his birthday, So
yeah, I was like, see ya, and he was like, poof.
He's got places to be.
He wants that
Date with
bagel.
a bagel, and
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh yeah. All right, dude. Love you. See you later.